You're not able to complete your tasks. You're setting goals and not hitting them, and you're wondering why. In this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 under the radar kind of signs that you are indeed burnt out. Number 1, the number 1 sign that you are indeed burnt out is that you are neglecting self-care. We're not getting in the showers. We're not grooming ourselves. We're not taking care of our hair. We're not washing as much, right? We're doing things that otherwise we would be doing. Where the house isn't as clean, it's a little unhygienic. And a lot of times this goes under the radar because it's so easy, right? To just leave a sink full of dishes. It's so easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'll do it the next day. Then you start worrying about roaches, but you still don't give a damn. I'll do it the day after. That's a sign that something deeper could be going on that's actually inhibiting your ability to care that much or care enough to make a difference and tackle that the sink full of dishes, right? So we have to be mindful when we are starting to neglect our self-care. It's one of the first things to go, and one of the things that a lot of people might not notice, all right? So just be mindful of that. Now, the second major subtle sign that you are indeed burnt out, overwhelmed, overworked, underpaid, stressed the hell out is you're a little bit more irritable than usual, okay? So the kid says, hi, mom, and what do you mean, hi, mom? Right? Like, that's kind of, we're not responding appropriately to life's situations and the things that life throws at us. Now, irritability to go up and down on that spectrum of being happy and joyful or being a little angry, a little resentful, a little bitter. I think it's part of the human experience. I think we're supposed to feel all of our feelings. But when it comes to a point where you notice you're a bit more irritable than usual, or the smallest things get under your skin, right? That old lady crossing the street is no longer like, oh, look at me, ma. It's like, get your old ass across that street. Right? Like, we need to be mindful of that kind of energy coming up in us, because a lot of time it points to something deeper going on. When we're irritable, it means our fuse is short. Why is your fuse so short? What burnt it out? Right? And we're going to get into some solutions later on, but right now, let's just be mindful of these major signs as we go into sign number 3, that you are indeed burnt out, which is a lot of us don't realize that stress manifests itself as physical symptoms within our body. So you might be feeling more headaches than usual. You might be feeling body aches, obviously along with the irritability, which is a different kind of sign, but it's all similar, right? It's all about how we feel. So pay very close attention to what's going on in your body. And the best time of the day to pay attention to your body and the state of your health is at night. Because one thing about the nighttime that happens when we're about to fall asleep or when we're in bed, we're getting all cozy, we're under our blankets, is that there's no movement going on. There's no motion. So a lot of bodily sensations that were happening throughout the day that we couldn't really feel, it becomes exacerbated at night because now we're completely still. So any type of subtle little pang or some little stinging sensation that we got going on in our calf muscle or in our knee or in our elbow, or we might be feeling sharp pain, shooting pains, those things become a little bit more prevalent at night because we're actually more aware of it. So be mindful of what your body is doing at night. Now, also remember that stress is one of the main precursors to dis-ease, right? Stress can cause diabetes. Take a look. I'm not making it up. It can cause high blood pressure. There's so many things that burnout and stress can cause the body to actually get sick, where your body is in a state of dis-ease. You're no longer in a state of ease. So there's flow that's blocked. And now your muscles and your tendons and everything in your body is trying to tell you, like, what you're doing to my mind hurts. What you're doing to my body hurts. And it's like that last sign before something else starts to generate within you, like maybe high blood pressure or something associated with stress and burnout. So be mindful, because these things are very real and they do wreak havoc on our whole health. Okay, so be mindful of those. All right, the next sign we're going to get into is cognitive difficulties, right? So when you can't remember what your man told you the other day, or your mom, your dad, your coworker, you're forgetting things. It's like, oh yes, I do remember that. That is one of the major signs that you are burnt out, because it's showing that your mind, emotionally, mentally, you are exhausted and you are spent in that way. So therefore you don't have much energy or much more capacity to hold on to new information. And you might find yourself a bit more forgetful. You might find yourself having a hard time recalling certain memories, or it could be even difficult to think, difficult to concentrate. You find yourself getting distracted very easily. right? Because when that starts to happen, it points to ourselves being overworked, not just in our body, but in our mind as well. And when our mind is at capacity, that's when we can't really hold on to things, or it's hard to. So when you think about your focus being in a million different directions, when you think about having to remember a million different things, think about how much at capacity your brain is to where it can't even hold on to one thing I told you to do that Tuesday at 6 p.m. and you forgot. Burnt out. Right? So be mindful of your cognitive abilities around a time where you may be feeling burnt out, because this may be something that's affecting you like it's affecting many of us. All right. The next sign is you are feeling like your life doesn't have as much meaning to it as you'd like it to. Right? Like you're just finding that life is kind of dull. It feels kind of blah. Your days are just kind of merging into one. Sometimes you forget what day it is because your day on Tuesday was the same exact day you're having on Saturday. And when things get like that, that's also letting you know that there's a part of you that feels purposeless. And it makes sense, because when you're burnt out, it can point to you expending efforts in other areas of your life that don't yield anything back to you. So therefore, it leaves you with a sense of purposelessness. So if you're feeling like that, also be mindful that it could be because you're burnt out and you're paying attention or giving your energy to things that aren't necessarily filling your cup up. So be very mindful of that. Now, I want to get into the solution aspect of this. I'm not just going to give you guys a whole bunch of problems and symptoms without giving you solutions. So the number one thing that I came up with is acceptance, right? Accept it. Accept that you're stressed. Accept that you go through your bouts of depression mildly or whatever it is. Accept that you get burnt out. Accept that you're irritable. Accept that you're angry. Because acceptance is such a powerful place to be, because once we accept where we're at, who we are, what hasn't happened, now the control is in our hands. And now we can actually go after a solution that could be very helpful, because we are okay with where we're at. Not okay in the sense that this is cool, I can stay here. No. What I mean by we're okay with it is that I'm not going to subject myself to any more of this. So therefore, I'm going to accept what I am, who I am, and what I'm not. So that way I can prosper and I can change this, right? So we're calling back power to ourselves by accepting. Now, the next thing that could really help you get out of this whole burnout cycle and stop feeling so depleted and stressed is start to problem solve, right? So when we talk about problem solving, it means like, is there anything in your life that you can do that can really help this, that perhaps you have not considered just yet? We always think that we have figured out, or we tried 1,000,001 things, but really you haven't. You tried like 5 things that didn't work and you got discouraged and never tried again. So I want you to sit with yourself and figure out, can I solve this problem? Is this really bigger than me? Is this something that I really can't handle? Is there any way I could make it smaller? Is there any way I could delegate? Is there any way that I can help myself with this? Now, if you tried everything, and I mean you exhausted everything, then the next thing that you want to try, if you're having difficulty solving your burnout problems, the next thing you want to try is a perspective change. Now, this is one of the most powerful solutions I find personally, because a lot of times when things are out of our locus of control, like there's nothing we can do to fix it, there's nothing we can do to control it, that means we have to change. We have to look at it differently. So let's say, for example, maybe you're in a crappy marriage or you're in a really toxic work situation. You have to start to look at that and say, you know what? Clearly, I need to grow. Clearly, there's some lesson here that I have not quite learned yet. Well, maybe since I hate my boss so much and they hate me too, it's going to teach me how to deal with difficult people as I figure out my next role. Right? So we need to reframe things so that we kind of create a situation where we're the victor rather than the victim. Because one thing about burnout is that victimhood mentality, really it thrives off of that. So we have to make sure that we are steering clear of the victim thing. We have to be the ones at this point to take control. The whole thing is about taking control, acceptance, trying to solve our problems or changing our perspective. Right now, the last thing, or the last solution that I find has been very helpful, you already know, healthy diet. All right, this is the Gem&Juice series where I drop gems as I drink my juice before I go to the gym. I'm gonna be real, I didn't go to the gym today and I don't feel bad about it, but I did drink my juice. Okay, I just finished my green juice. But healthy diet is so essential to burnout, because we have to understand that when you're stressed, when you're dealing with life's issues, life's curveballs, a healthy diet always kind of blunts the blow. It makes things a lot easier, because one thing about eating healthy and whole foods and vitamins and vegetables and fruits is that they come with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that help our body, not just our body function better, right? But it also helps our mind function better, right? So we have a lot going on inside of us, there's a lot of chemistry going on and a lot of chemicals going on within our bodies that it needs antioxidants to fuel them. It needs minerals and vitamins to fuel them. So if your diet is full of food product and Takis and Cheetos and coffee and creamers and breads, that the body doesn't really know what to do with that kind of food. So it breaks down as simple sugars, and we end up having more inflammation, more anxiety, and more stress, because sugar wreaks havoc on the body. And a lot of people don't even realize rice breaks down to sugar. Bread breaks down to sugar. Pasta breaks down to sugar. And those are some of our most beloved foods. I am a pasta lover and rice lover. I eat rice all the time. But I have to remember how it does wreak havoc on the health. One thing that I've always remembered, I forgot who it was that said it, but when you think about what these things are made of, flour and water, especially bread, that's what you make paper mache out of. Remember in science, like you would make a paper mache thing and you take flour, you mix it with water, and it hardens. Think of it like that, like you're literally ingesting a paste. So think about how much more difficult it is for your organs to work with ease and flow when you have stuckness in you, almost like that of a glue. All right, and I'll definitely give you guys some resources if you're interested in these kind of topics, because trust, they're coming more. More of them are coming on this channel. But I'm not going to go into that. But I do want you to consider what it is that you're eating. I want you to consider how you're starting your day and how you're ending your day with what foods you're eating. Because we really, really need to eat well in order for our bodies to truly love us back. It's dying to love us back. So we have to give it the fuel that it needs. So I'm going to leave that here. I hope you got something for how to treat your burnout, how to recognize it when it's running rampant and you might not realize it yet, but also how to solve it. So if you found anything helpful here, please subscribe. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers very quickly, because this channel is going up. We got a lot of value here, and I love the community building that we're doing. So if you find it useful, again, please subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow.